Welcome back. As you can see, persistence has its pleasures, as our first two guests started with little more than the shirts on their backs, and now they're leaders in their respective industries. To quote the infamous Winston Churchill, who said, "Failure is not fatal, victory is not final. It is the courage to carry on that counts." And those words cannot hold more water than here in Lam Terra Studio, home of Frege, the Arabic world's most popular 3D animation. While this creative cluster of a studio tantalizes the mind, it was not always like that. For the story of Frege starts with suffering and failure. This is a story of Mohammad Harib.
I did not know what to study. When I graduated from high school, there was no guidance back then from the school. I did the right thing and asked my father what I should study. And he said, "Why don't you study architecture?" He kind of saw Dubai going into this booming stage. And I said, "You know what, that's an interesting major." I went to the States, to Boston. I studied architecture, loved the art part, hated the math and physics, and I failed miserably. Got kicked out from the university.
Thrown out of school.
Thrown out of school, lost my scholarship.
This could have crushed most people. This was a very tough time.
For a teenager who was like thousands of miles away, breaking the news to his father, it's very hard because, you know, you don't want to fail your father as your first son. And the worst part is that I wanted to go into art, which is even more, you know, shady back then, because that's not a major that will earn you any kind of status in this country. I was the only guy studying art from 150 students from the UAE in Boston. But at least I loved what I did, and I think that was key to me succeeding later, is that I did really find my passion in what I studied.
But the turning point was you didn't let the failure crush you. When you failed out, you called your father and you said, "Dad, I don't want to come home a failure. I want to take," and he said, "Well, why do you want to take art?" And I think you said, "Because you're good at drawing toes."
No, he was like, I really don't care what major you study as long as you like it and as long as you come back with a degree.
You didn't let this failure crush you. In fact, it was a stepping stone to your success. You get your animation degree, you come back to the UAE, and in the Middle East, they can't even spell animation now because they can't spell it because there was no animation here.
I started off as a freelancer, worked with my cousin, so he promised me like a 5,000 every month. I never got paid. And through that, I started my own small digital magazine, and that led me to Dubai Media City. And I interviewed the CEO of Dubai Media City back then, Mr. Abdul Jum'ah, who's currently the director of the Dubai International Film Festival. And the next day, I got a call from them offering me a job. I was a marketing executive, so basically I had to make sure that stationery was there for the department. But slowly, they started to see that I can actually take good pictures, I can create good logos, so they gave me more and more opportunities. The idea of Frege only came when Mr. Abdul Jum'ah saw the sketches and he said, "This is cool, I want you to go and check out the companies at Dubai Media City, and we as Dubai Media City want to know if an animation can be created in the United Arab Emirates." And that was the initial spark that started all of that in 2003. And I ended up being in Thailand doing a demo for my show. And 2 months later, they came, and for the first time in 5 years, I saw my ladies of Frege walking and talking. And for me, that was the point of never going back. I knew that this, whatever it takes, needs to be achieved. The budget for making the show was very high. It started off at $2 million. And I was instructed to go see the Sheikh Mohammed establishment for young business leaders, who had a cap of 1 million dirhams, let alone $2 million. So I had no hope going there. But Abdul Basit Al-Janahi, who was the CEO back then, told me, "I love the idea, let's not kill it, but go back, Mohammed, and try to bring down the budget so we can at least try to manage it." He could have killed it right there and then, and I could have still been in Dubai Media City doing nothing. That's the sign of great leadership, is the people who will guide you to do something. And 3 years down the line, from going a lot of back and forth, I was given the maximum budget that ever was released by SME, with a promise that I'll give it back in less than a year, which I did. It was 3 million dirhams and I needed 4.2. So there is a deficit of 1.2 that I had to get from a sponsor somewhere. And I went to all the sponsors. I was a nobody who never directed anything before in his life. So why would they want to help me create something that has never been created even for Arabia?
Crazy.
From one CEO to another, you end up with the bad ones who take you to the good ones who then help you move forward. So I had my fair share of bad and good, and the good ones managed to take me a step ahead. And thankfully, it went on to be the #1 show in Arabia. And not just that, it became a cultural phenomenon.
I have not seen anyone who's achieved greatness who does not know failure. Is failure one of the key ingredients of success?
I think failure is the best ingredient of success, because up until a while, you keep delivering beautiful, successful shows and you rest on your laurels thinking, I did it and I can't go wrong, they love me. And with media, that's what they love to do. They like to put you on a certain stool very high up there, and then the next year they like to pull you down to hell, and they bring you back as a champion the next year. And it's just it's a game. You really need to taste defeat and learn from your battles and lick your wounds kind of thing, because you come back more on your toes, and you come back from the start thinking you are failing. Because if you do that with all your projects, you then put an extra effort to make sure that there is nothing there that make people not like the product. And you learn to listen to yourself more than listening to people, because sometimes people can lead you to the wrong way. As an artist, I believe in the end that I have to stick to what I want to present, and that will kind of hopefully allow me to be successful.
What would be your advice to anyone who wants to chase their dream?
Chase your dream and be serious about it. You don't have to quit everything and go on this mission where you have to go beg. No, you can do both. Work in a job, try to do this on the side until it's ready for you to jump ship and basically start working on your own project. Don't be sad or fearful or disappointed that you might not do it. As we said, failure is part of the learning experience, as long as you have the courage, the belief in yourself to sell the idea to whomever it needs. They tell you about the 60-second elevator pitch. That's a true one. Be ready for that. Be ready to charm people as you go.
So there you have it, from the horse's mouth directly. If you've been knocked down, if you're failing, if you feel the markets are working against you, I'd like to congratulate you. Congratulations on taking your first few steps towards success. As one CEO told me, fail fast and fail often, because the seeds of your finest hour are often planted in your darkest. Join us next week as we unearth the secrets to success in the Middle East.